Hey there, it's Andre the Impulsive Thinker. Today I have Brandy Keats, Dr. Brandy Keats, sorry. She's the CEO and founder of the Experience Chiropractic Clinics, and she is the clinical director of Bloom, which is a prenatal care for mothers and babies. How are you, Brandy?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Andre?
Really good. I'm looking forward to this because episode 27 and 31 you were on, and we discussed friends and ADHD entrepreneurs and also interviewing staff, and then somehow ADHD marriage got slipped into there. So you're one of the OGs really on my podcast. And the main reason I got you here today is the person you were then, you are nowhere, like she's not here. The Brandy that we interviewed back then is not here with us today. This is a brand new Dr. Brandy Keats. And I want to discuss your transformation, which at the same time we'll be sharing your ADHD journey. So are you ready to get down to this?
Dude, I'm so ready. Let's do this.
So fate got us to meet each other at Strategic Coach, where we're both students and we're both in the same workshop group. And we've had a lot of conversations over the years. And I think, give me a brief review of Brandy in your old world and the stories you used to tell yourself, or what the world told you. Where were you 2 years, 3 years ago?
I was secretly at a breaking point, and I think when we did our podcast, you interviewed me,
Mhm.
and then for some reason we decided to have some fun, and you asked me to interview you, which is always an
Yeah.
interesting thing. But what I don't think you knew on that is I recently separated with my ex-husband, um, because I had embarked in a year of really trying to figure out why I felt so broken, despite having everything professionally, every dream house, dream car, dream kids, still wasn't happy and really didn't understand myself.
Mhm.
Even, I mean, I'm a happy person. I like to laugh, I like to joke, but deep down inside, I really didn't understand myself. And I think part of the reason that I was successful is all of the trauma and not being understood. I'm very big into if you tell me I can't do something,
Yeah.
I will show you I can do it. That's the best way to motivate me. And there's been a number of significant things in my life where somebody has told me I will never make it, and I will die trying, and I will actually do it. So that's the best way to inspire me. And I think that has driven me to hit the levels that I'm at today. Because as a child, I was profoundly learning disabled, despite I could read at 3. I could read fully at 3. But you and me, you can understand we don't fit the normal package
Yeah.
in terms of our thoughts and our brain speed. Sitting in a classroom, and you're supposed to behave, and I was bored, and I had great grades, but I was a big dreamer and a daydreamer, and
School wasn't challenging.
school wasn't challenging at all. So I was
Yeah.
extremely bored. And I think in terms of them testing me, they tested me in 5th grade and literally did an IQ test because they thought I was stupid. Like every report card I have, I know that they standardized them now. It said she's a scatterbrain, super sweet scatterbrain. That was how I was described, and it was frustrating because they're like, she's stupid. Like literally, they would say she's stupid, even though I could read at 3. And and I loved to dissect frogs and do weird stuff. Like I wanted to be a doctor from being 2. But when they IQ tested me, it came back 154.
Hmm.
What screwed me up for a little bit is they said that can't be right, retester.
Oh,
And I came back
wow.
154. So it's like,
Right.
no, you're an idiot. Do you know what I'm saying?
We're
And
trying to prove it.
yeah, so I did it again. So I did it again. But what saved my self to some extent is I was put into a gifted program that was more Montessori type.
Well,
So
it's geared to your mind, the way your
yeah,
brain
like you
works.
could
Yeah.
start working on a project, abandon it, go start working on another project, and it was like deeper conversations. I hate vacuous stuff. Like I
Mhm.
hate vacuous facts that I don't really know how to apply to my life. So I was actually doing stuff that I enjoyed, and there was a lack, we talk about strategic coach, there's a lack of resistance. And I was fine.
Interesting that you do better with stuff that interests you.
Yeah, shocking, shocker. I really thrived. And it's funny because I'm still friends with my gifted teachers on Facebook. And I think when I entered the program, I was sort of broken as a student because you're labeled stupid. It is the one place they would take us off site that I really felt understood. Mrs. Lucas, if you hear this, she's still a Facebook friend, and Mrs. Wright, they really there was the strategic coach of my fifth grade to 12th grade, because they really nurtured my different brain, and all of us in the class were differently abled and neurospicy. I found out later we're all neurospicy, and I found my tribe, and I didn't have a great experience in school because I loved reading and I was a giant nerd. Do you know what I'm saying? So hanging out with people that were intellectual and had deeper conversations about, mythology and, literature, and not like who's dating who and talking behind someone's back. So I think finding your tribe was critically important for me.
Well, that's quite interesting, because even I, at a young age, I wanted the higher level conversations. I always hung out with the parents or with the adults, because that conversation was a lot higher level for me than, what toy did you get, or who are you dating now? Even to this day, I still challenge trying to find the right people.
Tolerance for that. And I grew up, my mom was into gerontology, so I hung out at her work. So I was hanging out with 80-year-olds, and I loved talking to their wealth of information and knowledge. And they didn't judge you on the superficial, like how did you score, or like
that's right.
So I really, that my associate's degree is in gerontology because I really love old people, and now I am one because I'm 50. But I think I like the deeper things in life. Like I like to have fun. Do you know what I'm saying? But something's a waste of my time. I now know that I don't want any part of it. And there's nothing wrong with me wanting it that way.
All right, let's go from school, because you just said a few things there that I really relate to. So, like, yes, universities, real life work, we're not allowed to have fun anymore at work, or have fun having fun. How your transition into the working world, how was that supported, the way that you were always treated as dumb, stupid?
Yeah, so I went to paramedic school and I did quite well. I loved it because it's an ADD, it's an ADD dream working in an emergency department, because things are chaos and I thrive on chaos. So I think I didn't really feel it then. I'm a very complicit employee. I'm like a great employee. I'm very fear-based with respecting, authority in that terms. But I think where things went off the wheels, as a student, I was fine going through chiropractic school. The wheels came off with owning a business and trying to work with my brain, where you try to hire somebody that doesn't think like you. I was just focused on survival and business, but when we actually started to get bigger and the practice exploded in 2018, a lot of stuff was happening at the time. My daughter was diagnosed with autism. And I really started to be concerned with, oh my God, I need to build a nest around this kid financially. And that kicked me into high gear of, building something where I actually cared about money. Before, money always just came, we always had enough, but intentionally exploding the practice to expand it. I love systems. I love to build systems. I love to fix them when they break. But to do that, the whole secret of business is consistency, right?
Yeah.
And you and I are the least consistent people with our brains, because we thrive on change. So in terms of business, when I bring somebody in, I would have people be flagrantly rude. And I wish I had, the soul that I have now at 50, where at the time I really let them talk to me like that.
At that time, you weren't diagnosed yet, right, with ADHD?
I was diagnosed I actually was diagnosed in college because I got in 5 different car accidents in a row for not paying attention.
Right. Okay.
They were all rear end things of like, oh, there's some flags. Let's look at that.
Because things were going too slow. It was boring. You weren't paying attention.
Yeah. So that's what I figured out. But I really do understand it, and that's why I like your podcast so much. I think if you understand something, I just thought, like, I'm super smart, my brain works super fast, but it really it was more of working with others and being differently brained. I think even with my friends didn't work, and they're like, I don't understand why your brain works so fast, like all the time. Like, can you shut it off?
Yeah.
For me,
No,
it was just a way
sorry.
of, yeah. Or like, why do you have to work all the time? Because I do, you know, and I want to. I think I share that with you, that we love what we do. So you sort of throw yourself into stuff.
Well, it's
But
the only thing we were good at for a long time, which was the only good place where we felt happy or supported or acknowledged. So we
right,
kind of got in that habit. That's the only place we can feel happy.
right. And when I work with Marilyn, like I work with Marilyn Waller, like the only place I felt authentically myself was in a training room.
Mm-hmm.
Being a CEO was so triggering to me because I was so intense about,
Yeah.
like, in the treatment room I could be light. It's thoughtless. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I really can just focus on loving somebody and giving a great treatment. I'm a chiropractor with pregnancy. So, but being a boss exposed how disorganized my brain is, how I'm holding 50 thoughts in my brain at one time, how I can switch between 5 different conversations with the team walking in and handle all 5 conversations.
And
You know,
effectively handling them, which a
effectively
lot of
handling
people
it.
can't understand and get freaked
Yeah.
out about.
I think I get really pissed off where people say, like, oh, you can't multitask. I sure as hell can. Can I do all of them at 100%? No,
No.
but I think there's a lot of gifts. There's a podcast that talks about how ADD is the entrepreneur's disease. And it's starting to be like almost that swan allegory that talks about, like, how, you know, this swan was put in this thing with like ducks, you know, and then it finds out it's actually a swan when you find out that you're actually special and not stupid. And I have to reframe it, and I've had to say to employees now, like, I run a $2 million business, like you don't. So you
Yeah.
can think I'm stupid and a flake, but you're not the one that built this. You know, you came in last year. I've been doing this for 22 years, and not to be a jerk, but there's a respect, you know,
Yeah.
that I used to judge myself on. And now it's like, do I even like this? Like, do I trust what this person is saying? Have they worked with a CEO visionary that they understand us? Or are they just a corporate sheep that
Mm-hmm.
I don't fall in their little stupid box? Get the hell out of here. And I don't mean to be like, before I used to take that so personally. And now it's like, you didn't build this. You didn't have the balls or the thought process to build this. I did.
Mm-hmm.
So please don't insert your opinion and insult me. Let's work together, sort of like rocket fuel, in terms of, I like your gifts, you like my gifts. There's got to be a common respect. And I think over 22 years, until I started to understand that with Strategic Coach and all the testing they put us through, now I fully understand that we have gifts. Like, there's a role for us at work.
Mm-hmm.
And just because it's just the visionary, you know, we're the ones that come up with the ideas. And without the idea, there wouldn't be a product, you know, without that vision. So I had always thought everybody had a vision, and that's not something that naturally comes to people.
No, no. And I got that even with my engineering company. I get people that come right out of school or they go to another firm, then they see how I do it. Doesn't fit the traditional norm. Therefore, I am an idiot, even though I've been doing this since 2007 and I've got customers that's just throwing work at us,
Right.
but I'm still doing it wrong. And to whose measure? To theirs, inexperience. And they're not open to different ways of doing it. And that's what I've had to fight that my whole life as well. I was
Yeah.
talking to a couple other podcasts, and I never got in trouble for not doing the job or getting the results. It was
Same.
how I did it. I always got grief for.
Yeah.
So I gave you
Same.
what you wanted, but how I did is pissing you off. But I
Or,
got you
or we
what you
exceed it.
asked.
Yeah, or we exceed it. They're like, I don't, and
Oh
people,
yeah, that's a
I
good
really feel
point.
like people are jealous, and I'm not just being a hater, but they would be
No,
like,
it's true.
I had a massage therapist last year. He's like, I don't trust your business plan. I'm like, you're a massage therapist. Why are you saying that to me? You know, what have I given you that you don't trust my vision? And I'm sort of like, I don't have to prove myself to you. I build it. Like,
Yeah.
this is not debatable. And I think there's an anger in my voice, because it's like, it's so ridiculous that for 20 years, I let people tell me that I was wrong when I'm creating a whole new way of being. And just because it doesn't fit in your dumb box, I actually tried to go back to my junior high to meet with my guidance counselor, you know, who told me I would never be a doctor and I would never be successful because I'm such a scatterbrain. And I wanted to tell him, screw you, because you're ruining people's dreams. Just
Yeah.
because you have a limited view and you're fixed in your thing doesn't mean like I wanted to thank him in the same vein of saying thank you for being such a jerk, to try to stop me. You inspired me to be where I'm at today. Unfortunately, he passed away, but like I don't think without that adversity of being like, I'll show you, and is that
Yeah.
healthy? I don't know, Andre, but like it gets us where
Well, we know it's not. We got to
where we are.
our
Yeah.
club, but we also just went through massive problems in our last few years, right?
Yeah, both of
So,
us did. Yeah, we hit the
but
wall, I think.
but because of that adversity, because of the box that we didn't fit in, our fight or flight, like we're fighters. Our
Yes,
survival skill is
we have
fighting,
grit.
and I'll
Both of us,
prove
you and I do.
you
Yep.
right. And not afraid to try stuff because really no one's there to support us. Therefore, I'm just going to do it anyways. And yeah, so you just said something earlier that there was a transformation trigger, right? So we
Yes.
just got a good background. What was the transformation trigger that caused you to initiate this transition to start? What I heard was self-accepting yourself and just start saying, you know what, naysayers, too bad, so sad. I'm doing something right. I'm taking ownership for it now.
That's like a hard question because I've had multiple. I'm very strong and I'm very stubborn, and I think it took a lot to break me. It takes a lot to break me.
Well, it
And
took 22 some 5 years, right? I heard.
yeah, and I think for me the big transformation, I am an avid reader. I read a book a week, and I read something about this hell yes principle.
Mhm.
And I tried to do everything on top of owning this business. I was a board president, like did it all, like tagged everything that I wanted. It just sort of fell in my lap. And I had
Mhm.
got to the point where I had everything and I was still miserable. So I read this hell yes thing and I made a list of all the things that were feeding my batteries and all the things that were draining my, because I felt utterly drained. And instead of looking within of what makes, I couldn't even figure out, Andre, what made me happy because I didn't have a life, because all I did was work.
Mhm.
I had a husband, I had 2 kids. Other than those roles, and I had some friends. Other than that, nothing. There's no Brandy of Brandy likes farmers markets. Brandy loves, all I had was Barnes and Noble
Yeah.
and Staples.
Was it fair
So
to say you were chasing other people's goals during that time?
I think if I'm really bluntly honest, I was trying to prove that I was worth something
Yeah.
to two certain people in my life that I'm very aware of. One of them is still in my life and one is not. But to prove that I'm not stupid and that I'm not a loser, I'm being blunt, right? It took me realizing that I was doing this for the wrong reason. I was building stuff to prove that I was okay, and that I could do it. And I think that's that reactive stuff that you and I get, where it's like, I'll show you, and then you do it, and you're like, but I don't even want this. I just did it
Yeah,
so that I could
exactly.
show you. Like just the fact. I think that's one thing that I've let go of, and that's well, I'll get to that. But of the letting go of, I don't need to prove myself to anybody anymore. But the breaking point started to happen where I made this list, and just I had to force myself to quit so many things because they didn't bring me joy. And if I Marie Kondoed the shit out of my life, where I'm just
Yeah.
like, this doesn't bring me joy anymore. Like I did it. I have a friend, Dave Braxton. He's like, you did it. You achieved it. That doesn't mean that you have to keep doing it, And so I literally ruthlessly cut things out of my life to the point where I'm a scientist, right? You test it. Okay, I still feel incredibly stressed. Tested it, still felt, And so at the end of 2021, the last thing to go is my husband of 26 years. And it sounds horrible, but like the stress was still there. After he left, I could breathe,
Right.
and I felt, I tested it where it's sort of like I took some space and like, I felt completely at peace. And I felt like I could finally be me, and there's nothing wrong with my ex-husband. It just, it was not, it didn't serve me anymore. It was not aligned with myself in growth. It was something that I had outgrown, and something that I tolerated, and it's not something that I wanted to tolerate anymore. And that was extremely, if you talk about a breaking point, I don't like to look stupid and I don't like to look bad. So for me to take a marriage that everybody thought was great and to take a business, he worked in my business, to have that end was hard. Like that's what kept me in it for probably 20
Mhm.
something years, because my therapist said I had like a chessboard that I had protected, and I wanted that, what it looked like, that I had my shit together. And I
Yeah.
literally took the chessboard and chucked it off the table and said, screw it. And started from scratch of what do I want? And for a lot of months, I had to figure out, what do I want? Sort of like the Notebook, like, what do you want? I had no idea what I wanted. So that's when I switched to the process, once I got through shedding everything, of trying stuff on, like clothes. And again, working with Marilyn, it's like she's very big into life school and not judging yourself. So I put something on. Do I like this? Do I like to do this? No, I don't like this. Or yes, I do want more of this. And through that process, I really started to develop a sense of myself. And I think concomitantly with working with Strategic Coach and doing the testing that they have us do, and being in those classrooms, the way that they phrase stuff is pro us, where it's like you understand yourself and you understand with the tools how to think and convey what you're thinking so that you can translate it to someone else. I've used those tools in my personal life and also with work. So to understand my gifts and understand how I'm different and understand where I can lend my energies and where stuff drains me, like a delegate and elevate with EOS is one of my biggest tools that I use in my personal life and with work. What am I good at? And I'm really good at it. And I really like, what am I good at? And I hate it, but I'm good at it. That doesn't mean I need to do it anymore. Give it to somebody that actually genuinely loves to do it.
Well, I think that's a really good point. Like, I think you said quite a lot of good stuff, actually. Like, just because you achieved it doesn't mean you have to keep doing it. And a lot of us do get trapped in that cycle. Either, like you say, I'll prove you wrong, I can't do it. That's how I started my first engineering company.
Yeah.
But we don't have to keep doing it. Any other things that you did for that transition so you can get to where you are today? Because, even if you want to go listen to episode 27, your tone, the voice, the confidence is tremendously a lot in you now than there was back then. Like, we all had the confidence, but I think the confidence is around the screw you, I'm going to show you confidence, not confidence in me to be able to do the things that I want to do.
Yeah, and giving yourself permission. Like, I was raised to be in the trenches with people and do the dishes, at work. But I think, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I think I really didn't like myself. As much as I admired myself of like, wow, she can accomplish big shit, right?
Yeah.
Personally, I was empty. As much as I love my patients, I love my kids, there was no love of myself. And physically, I have completely changed. I don't even look like myself anymore. And it's not a glow up of revenge. It's just, I feel lighter, and this year was really letting go, because I've always tried to work my way into changing. That's why I'm a voracious student. But with working with Marilyn, letting go, I don't need to be perfect on your podcast. I don't need to have my shit together at all times. I don't, because who says that I do? Nobody has their shit together all the time, and nobody has all their stuff together. So it's being cool with, I am perfectly imperfect, and I know myself very, very well now. I know what I want and what I will tolerate. And that hell yes has been pervasive. If I'm unhappy or triggered in a situation, do I really want this? Am I just hanging in to be a good girl, and do the right thing, instead of abandoning myself and putting myself in painful situations to do the right thing? If it's the right thing, it's the right thing. I deserve the right thing too. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not just the other person.
Oh, wow. That is true. That is, we've never given us the right. Yeah.
Because we were always wrong.
We were always wrong. We didn't deserve to be happy. We didn't deserve to get what we received because we didn't do enough work, blah, blah, blah. And then I started to believe that a long time that I don't deserve happiness.
Right. Because you're so busy trying to prove that you're neurotypical when we were never born to be neurotypical. I don't want to be. My kid is neurospicy as well. There's such beauty in who we are and the quirkiness that I only want to align with people on my team and in my personal life who get that, who can respect the beauty in it. Is it challenging to be with me? Sure. Like in terms of my brain, it's painful at times to work with me,
Yeah, but it's also painful for us to work with the neurotypical because I don't move quick enough. It's a two-way street. And I'm tired of this. It's only tough to work with us, but it's two-way street.
Yeah.
So I like how you phrased it. And it also sounds like you didn't do this alone.
Mm-mm.
So the transition also includes
Oh,
the
I
right
have a
people around you,
awesome.
coaches, um, outside of your work, and even your personal day to day.
Yeah, it ties into Strategic Coaches for Freedoms. And I think last year I was talking to Chad Williamson, and I was talking to him about bracing those freedoms. Like I have my purpose on lockdown. I know exactly why I'm here. I know what I'm supposed to do with my life. I know the disruption and the impact I need to make. But financial, health, I don't understand why that's not a freedom. I think that's the thing.
Hmm.
Relationships, all of those things I needed to brace. My time, you know what I'm saying? Like my time was so invested in everybody else's
Yeah.
stuff. So bracing a trainer, a therapist, Marilyn I work with still once a week to really understand myself and to be my highest self and to inspire myself, because I love self-improvement, and I want to be the best version of myself and to be self-aware. Just bracing those things to be the healthiest person mentally and physically that I can be, because I value myself, and I love who I am. I love I love everything about my life because I've created it instead of doing what other people think I should do. I think that's the beauty, and they say that happens when you turn 50, and it definitely happened for me. And the thing that used to be so frustrating is you can't rush it. Like you can't buy
No.
it, you can't learn
Yeah.
it. It's something that you have to go through life school and experience it to get to multiple breaking points in this year
Yeah.
of
You can go
just,
through life school, but you got to also pay attention and be willing to do the work,
yes.
is what you've
And I
done.
was sick of running from myself and really faced my own demons,
Yeah.
and what I've done, and realizing that there's literally nothing I can do about the past. All I can do is choose in this moment to be my ideal self, and that's all I can do, and to be kind to myself and to let go of that pressure of proving myself, because again, like I said, I tagged it. I already did. I exceeded everybody's expectations of me
Yeah.
millionfold. So what next? All I care about right now is making that impact with my purpose and continuing to do that, being genuinely happy and loving the people around me and experiencing life. Like that's all. Before that never entered my mind to be happy or to put effort into downtime, and,
Yeah.
and realizing that there's more of a life to develop relationships and stuff that
Without having to prove to others that you deserve it.
I don't need to prove
Yeah.
it. If somebody doesn't understand that, and it's funny because I've noticed triggers where I'll be like, "Do you know who I am?" And
Yeah.
I have that thought of, if I have to show somebody or tell them who I am, I'm in the presence of somebody who doesn't respect me. And I used to take that personally of like, oh, I feel threatened by that, or I feel like
Yeah.
insecure about that. Now I'm just like, you're committed to not understanding
Yeah. I
or the
got that.
value.
Yeah. I start to do that too. I turn around and walk away now. I cut
Yeah,
it just,
I don't even have to fight them. It's like
yeah.
if they disrespect me, I'm sort of like, cool. Like there's so many people out there, Andre. You're gonna find somebody like you and I are like homies.
Yeah.
So like delusional homies maybe that we're but like I get you. Like you get me. Why be in a relationship or talk to somebody or have a friendship with somebody who's committed to judging you, or
Yeah.
so much our friendship is just like easy. It's
Yep.
and that's what I want for my entire life.
And I think that's the great way to end this, is with that episode takeaway, like you just ranted on.
You're funny.
But it's clarity on who you are as a person, what your value talents are, and like you added, you value yourself now. And to get to that point, it's separate of your ADHD. It's all you, but that part is separate.
Yes.
And I think that has a lot more with our environment that caused us to be shitty on ourselves and not liking us. Yes, ADHD was part of the issue in that, but I don't think that's not ADHD that caused it. It was the environment, the people around, the
Triggers.
unfortunate in the box, triggers. And that's the point here is I've been working with a lot of people to get clarity on themselves, to bring the value. And like you said, you forgot to say something. I'm going to put words in your mouth. I don't like to do this, but you said that you love all the people around you. But what I'm getting from this whole conversation is not only do you value yourself, Brandy, you're actually loving yourself
Right.
again.
I matter. I didn't matter before.
Yeah.
Everyone else mattered, and my opinion matters, even though You know, other people don't. I can't make them see that. I can only see that and enforce that in myself.
Yeah, because we
And I
tolerated lots of stuff from people. We need to
be
stop. We have to
accepted. I
stop
don't care anymore.
tolerating this and start living our own lives. You
Yeah, I
know,
think the one thing to close to say that I think is helpful for people that are listening that have ADD, or when you're triggered, it doesn't, there you have to stop and see what's going on, that like, why are you, what is going on that you're dysregulated? Do you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And is it the person that is in front of you? Is it how you feel, and what is that eliciting? And when you get clarity of that, you can heal, you know,
yeah,
and
huge. That's why
yeah,
I always say we got to work on the triggers and understand the why.
yeah,
And you know, trying to prove your worth to others, we have to let that go and just do what we want to do. And there's nothing wrong with that, to do what makes you happy, not what makes everyone else happy. The right people around you will be happy you're doing things that make you happy. And
yeah.
that's an
I get a
important.
lot of shit for having a strategic assistant. Like, even my mom, if I post that job, she's like, "You're entitled
Yeah.
to think you need assistant." Or I've had a guy that I was dating say like, "Wow, like I was really intimidated that you have an assistant and I have to deal with." I have an assistant because I have severe ADD. I recognize that that's
Well,
not my
it's
gift.
not only that. That's not
It's a
like an
grace.
excuse.
Yeah,
It's, but the thing is, how many people work under you?
22.
You got 22 people working under you, 22 people. You're responsible to make sure they get a paycheck every week. They don't provide that much more except what they put in, which is not a criticism or whatever. They just come into work. You're the one responsible to make sure they're paid. You
Right,
got to get more work consistently so that they're paid. How
right,
can you do all this alone? You need your assistants.
right,
You've got them to help you support more clients,
right,
patients coming in so they can get paid. That's
right,
what people keep. This entitlement attitude pisses me off. Now
right.
I'm going on a rant, but this is us utilizing our talents and strengths effectively. You don't like organizing. You don't like to file stuff. You don't like to follow the rules of
Fills my
submitting tax
batteries.
lines. That's what those people do because they love that. They enjoy it. Our talents are visionary, coming up with new solutions to expand our companies.
Right.
So, yeah, that's
What's your
because you
ranting?
were shedding stuff that you don't like and it doesn't serve you or your
It robs my
clients.
batteries.
Yeah,
I'd rather have batteries and stuff that I enjoy, that only I can do, which is to create the vision and to, like, I'm the performer. Like
right.
I'm the person that's the teacher. So like, stay in that. Why would I do that? It's not beneath me. It's just not my natural gift.
Exactly. And so the question to the listener is, what are your natural gifts that you're not utilizing daily? And I'd like to hear from you. Well, Brandy, I did not expect it to go this well.
Here.
I had a
I
level. I
love
had a very
spending
high
time with
level of conversation, but you just blew it out of the water. So I
you, dude.
really love this.
I love you.
And like I said, the transition, the transformation you had over the last 2.5 years, I know was not easy. You dug up a lot of your own stuff that you didn't want to look at, but that was part of it. And you're just a completely new person. I love the old Brandy, but
Thank
I
you.
love the new one a lot better
Oh, thank
because you're
you.
so you. And I appreciate you tremendously. So to you, the listeners, thanks for listening. And Brandy, thanks again for sharing your story.
Thank you.